Joseph Nquain thought he was having a nightmare. But the silence that greeted him on the morning of August 22nd, 1986, was all too real. The 27-year-old farmer stumbled from his home in Subum village, expecting to hear the usual sounds of morning. Instead, he found death. Bodies lay scattered across the village paths. Neighbors he had spoken to just hours before now motionless in the dirt. What terrified Joseph most was how peaceful they looked. No signs of struggle, no wounds, no blood. This wasn't just Subum. Across the valleys of northwestern Cameroon, entire communities had been wiped out overnight. 1,746 people. Gone. Not from war, not from disease, but from something far more sinister. 3,500 cattle, goats, and chickens lay beside their owners, all perfectly preserved, all dead. The killer had struck without warning on the night of August 21st. But this wasn't a human predator. High above the villages, nestled in an ancient volcanic crater, lay Lake Nyos, a seemingly peaceful body of water, hiding a deadly secret. For decades, this lake had been building toward catastrophe, a natural time bomb counting down to one of history's most bizarre disasters. The people of these villages had no idea they were living in the shadow of an invisible killer. What emerged from Lake Nyos that night defied explanation and challenged everything scientists thought they knew about natural disasters. This is the story of the night an entire region suffocated in their sleep. Beneath Lake Nyos lay something far more sinister than the villagers could ever imagine. This wasn't just any ordinary lake. It sat perfectly within a 400-year-old volcanic crater. Deep below, magma chambers remained active, still breathing, still alive. For decades, these chambers had been releasing something invisible, something deadly, carbon dioxide, seeping silently from the Earth's core, dissolving into the lake's deepest layers. But Lake Nyos held a deadly secret in its very structure. The water never mixed. Upper layers stayed warm. Bottom layers remained ice cold. This stratification created the perfect prison, trapping carbon dioxide in the depths like a ticking bomb. Year after year, the concentration grew, building pressure, building death. The locals had noticed signs, but they didn't understand what they meant. Dead birds found floating near the shore. Small fish kills that seemed random. The water itself had begun changing colors, shifting from blue to strange, unnatural hues. Ancient legends spoke of angry spirits beneath the water. They weren't entirely wrong. By 1986, Lake Nyos had become a loaded weapon, and it was ready to fire. August 21st, 1986, 9:30 in the evening. The sleeping giant beneath Lake Nyos had waited long enough. In a single catastrophic moment, 1.6 million tons of carbon dioxide exploded from the depths. The lake turned blood red. A towering column of water shot 300 feet into the night sky. But the real killer wasn't the water. It was the invisible death that followed. A dense cloud of pure carbon dioxide began its silent march of destruction. Heavier than air, it hugged the ground, racing through valleys at 45 miles per hour. The village of Nyos was first. 1,700 souls sleeping peacefully in their beds. The invisible killer swept through every home, every street, every hiding place. Within minutes, Nyos was a ghost town. No screams, no struggle, just silence. The cloud moved on. Cam Village fell next. 200 more lives extinguished in their sleep. Then Subum. 300 victims added to the growing count of the invisible apocalypse. The death cloud carved a 15-mile path of destruction through the Cameroon countryside. Joseph Enquine was one of the few who lived to tell the tale. He described waking to find his family dead beside him, the air tasting of gunpowder and death. By morning, 1,800 people had suffocated in their sleep. The invisible killer had claimed an entire region. Dawn broke over Lake Nyos on August 22, 1986. The first rescue teams arrived to discover a scene beyond human comprehension. Entire families lay motionless in their beds. No signs of violence, no blood, no struggle. Children clutching toys. Parents reaching toward their babies. All frozen in their final moments. Even the rescue dogs sent to find survivors collapsed within minutes of arrival. The world's leading scientists descended on this remote corner of Cameroon. They faced a mystery that defied every known cause of mass death. Then they discovered something unprecedented in the lake's depths, a phenomenon so rare it had never been documented on this scale. They called it a limnic eruption, an explosion of dissolved carbon dioxide from the lake's bottom. The invisible gas cloud had suffocated everything in its path, a silent killer born from the earth itself. But this wasn't the first time. 2 years earlier, Lake Nyos had erupted in the same region. 37 people died. The warning signs were there. But no one understood what they meant. Lake Nyos had been a ticking time bomb, and the world had been completely blind to the danger. The bodies were buried, the survivors relocated, but Lake Nyos remained a ticking time bomb. Scientists knew the truth. Without intervention, the lake would kill again within decades. The solution was unprecedented. They would need to artificially burp the lake. In 2001, engineers installed the first degassing system at Lake Nyos. The massive fountains continuously release deadly carbon dioxide, preventing another catastrophic buildup. Lake Nyos received similar treatment, but the threat extends far beyond Cameroon. Scientists have identified over 40 similar lakes worldwide, each one a potential killer. From Rwanda to Italy, these sleeping giants accumulate the same lethal gas. The survivors of Lake Nyos still bear the scars. Many suffer permanent respiratory damage. The region slowly recovered. Vegetation returned. Wildlife cautiously reclaimed the valley. But the degassing systems require constant maintenance. Without them, disaster would return. The fountain at Lake Nyos stands as humanity's answer to nature's silent killer. A reminder that sometimes we must intervene to prevent the earth from suffocating us in our sleep. If this opened your eyes, smash that like button and subscribe for more.